All right. This is a piece that we call Carp on Crack.
Yes.
Pam Bondi this week announced that she's directed the FBI to assemble a list of Americans who may be considered extremists. What does that mean? The targets include people showing, quote, opposition to law and immigration enforcement, support for mass migration and open borders, radical gender ideology, or views labeled as anti-American, anti-capitalist, and anti-Christian. Well, who are they going to go to who's going to be willing to just light the Constitution on fire that way? Well, this guy, probably this guy. This crackhead gets paid billions by the government to track and spy on you. Let's take a look. This was at the annual Deal Book Summit that Karp did a few lines on the urinal right before he went on, seemingly. And this is how that went.
When we began talking, annoying each other 10 years ago, hopefully I'm annoying you as much as 10 years ago, or more. When I made a, you know this, every decision Palantir made, FDA's going public, building products, enterprise, large data sets, going to government, acknowledging American superiority, being pro-meritocracy, launching an AI platform, calling into question that AI models would actually be able to perform without orchestration. Every single one, our ontology, every single one of those was viewed as stupid.
I don't know if you've ever done DMT, but if you do enough DMT, Donald Trump comes out of the toilet and starts screaming at you, and then you have to do his bidding. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Have you ever experienced that? He's definitely whacked out on something. Maybe
he almost poked the guy's eye out.
Who knows? And I mean, that's a tough interview. The guy's just like,
the guy's like in your space, man. Like right there.
I guess I'm just gonna pretend this is all okay. Nothing else I can do. So, friend of the show, Jimmy Dore here. The head of Palantir goes on stage high on drugs, is literally jumping out of his chair like a meth head, and now they have to do damage control. Here's the damage control from Palantir. While cross-country skiing this morning, Dr. Karp decided to launch a new program, the Neurodivergent Fellowship. You see, nobody's a crackhead. Nobody's a weirdo. Everyone's neurodivergent, which makes you a genius.
While baking a pie this morning in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, he does a month-long Amish retreat this time of year. That's what he does.
Yes. If you find yourself relating to him in this video, unable to sit still or thinking faster than you can speak, we encourage you to apply. The final round of interviews will be conducted by Dr. Karp personally. Application link coming soon. Thank you and good luck. Okay, so listen. We make it an autism thing. All right, we make it an what else can we do? We make it an autism thing.
If you don't empathize with him, you're ableist. I'm fairly certain I have.
That makes him a genius.
I have pretty severe undiagnosed ADHD. I don't relate to him at all in that. I don't. Do I conduct myself that way on the show? I sit here for 3 hours. Am I jumping at it? Whoa, hey!
No.
Jesus Christ,
that's crack. If he were that autistic, he'd be like that all the time.
Of course.
Like if you were that
the guy was
whacked,
clearly
that's how
out.
you normally behave. No, this is the way. I mean, I've seen them use this a lot with Elon. This is a way that they try to make these psychopaths cuddly and relatable. Oh no, they're not dangerous. They're neurodivergent. They need our care. It's on the one hand, you're saying they're like super geniuses. And on the other hand, you're saying you can't judge them or you're being ableist, right? It's this, they love to deploy this with these fucking freaks. But he wasn't done. He settled down a little bit, although he's definitely hopped up on something through this whole interview. He wants to let you know that he's in solidarity with the working class. I shit you not.
You have 1% of the country in prison. 1% who were in prison and therefore have no rights. Do you know what happens to you when you go to prison? they take you away from your kids. You know who that happens to? Disproportionately working class, disproportionately black and Hispanic men and white men in the underclass.
And that is why, under Attorney General Bondi's new initiative, going after radicals and dissenters, we're going to shift that prison population largely over to middle-class, educated white kids who are talking shit on TikTok. That is who we're going to lock up. We are going to equalize the prison population, sir.
Where are the thousands of articles about them? Nobody cares, and they don't care because it does not either serve the ability, the desire to force me to vote for one party, which basically takes away all my power. That's effectually what it does. If I agree to say this is the worst thing in the world, I essentially have given up my vote. My vote is not for you. My vote is for these two issues. The second reason they don't care is because somehow no one has empathy with any of those people, because none of us really deal with those people. At Palantir, we are on the side of working class Americans. We support people who go to the military. We save their lives. We bring them home safer. Our AI actually makes workers more wealthy, more valuable. And the 10 to 15 million people that love me, despite what's written, half of them made a lot of money on us. And you know what they're like? They're like people like me who think, you know what? We have to do better. Of course we have to do better.
What do you say?
What the fuck? What is he even talking about? Okay, so Palantir, 15 million people love him because they made them rich. All right, I mean, I guess he's talking about their stock going up. 80% of the stocks are owned by 1% of the population, and most of those people are not working class. I don't know who you think you made rich in the working class. But
certainly not 15 million.
Certainly not 15 million. So here's crackhead Carp here on a little less crack, showing how he feels about public discourse and dissent and workers who might whistleblow on his company.
You need a higher purpose, and I also think you often need a lower purpose. Like the higher purpose for me.
What's the lower purpose?
Well, I love the idea of getting a drone and having light fentanyl-laced urine spraying on analysts who tried to screw us. So that's my lower purpose. And, yeah, and others. But the higher purpose for me was to get this nation to be the preeminent power in the world. Because whatever faults we have, they're nothing like anyone else's.
Okay. All right. So that's Alex Karp's response to criticism. Friend of working class, self-described Alex Karp, wants to spray fentanyl-laced urine on analysts who say anything negative about the company. Here's another guy from Palantir, Joe Lonsdale. If I'm in charge later, we won't just have a 3 strikes law. We will quickly try and hang men after 3 violent crimes. And yes, we will do it in public to deter others. Our society needs balance. It's time to bring back masculine leadership to protect our most vulnerable. Is Gil Duran. It's amazing how the Palantir guys are all going publicly berserk as the company becomes more embedded in our government. Seems like a massive national security concern. There is no logical reason for them to be acting out like this. You know, I used a clip in the memes I did the other night from Revenge of the Nerds. There's a video essay I keep meaning to get to. You know, that was kind of like a whole genre in the 80s of these movies about like mild nerds using their smarts to get revenge, Weird Science, you know, these kind of movies. We're living in that world, but see, this is the reality. Nerds are full of resentments and grudges. And what you've wound up with by putting people who are full of resentments and grudges at the forefront of society is a bunch of pissed off, nerdy psychopaths who just want to impregnate multiple women, a la Elon Musk, in ways they never would have been able to in their youth when those women were all laughing at them. And they want to get back at the Chads and pretend to be one of them, right?
Exactly.
They're all obsessed with this. Yeah, bring back. Do any of these guys strike you as masculine fellows who are all talking about masculinity and bringing back traditional masculine values? It is revenge of the nerds. And it is not what they presented it as, that, oh, you bring these gentle nerds to the forefront and they're going to do really good things. No, they're going to do fucking horrible things because they hate people. Exactly. Because they are nursing horrible resentments from their childhoods that now they want to take out on the rest of society.
Exactly. Well, this is why, Milo told Tucker he was one of only 2 or 3 straight men in conservative media. This is where all of this comes from. It's all about, look, if you look at MAGA as a whole, it's essentially at this point, and I'm sorry to say this to any hangers-on, but it's a movement of losers who seek to brand themselves as winners by attaching themselves to a man who is perceived as a winner, both in, business and politics, in sex, right? It's a movement of beta males who obsess over being presented as alpha male adjacent because Trump is the alpha. Alpha males don't spend the kind of time that these people spend worrying about how alpha they are. That's why they're alpha by definition.
Well, they don't hang around on social media all day.
They don't hang around on social media all day either, right? So this is all about branding. It's about branding yourself a certain way to live vicariously through people who are higher status than yourself.
Well, but this is a case where people who are psychologically completely unsuited to power happen to land into power because they happened to go into industries that wound up being the central magnets for capital in this age.
Well, yeah, these people won the lottery because their unique skill set that they honed by being undesirable antisocial nerds is now so in demand that they get to rule the world. They get to rule the world. And I do blame women for this to a certain extent. They need to lower. This is what happens when you are too selective, right? This is what happens,
Well, that's why Amanda married you, right? Because she didn't want to contribute to that culture.
Well, exactly. It's a very destructive.
That's it. You could have been one of these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
David Icke, hilarious. Selling AI dystopia by claiming to be on your side. Palantir seed funded by the CIA to destroy your freedom and ensure that more working class people end up in jail. Yeah, not only was Palantir seed funded by the CIA, you know who else was? You know what other companies' first contract was with the CIA? Oracle, Larry Ellison's company, first contract, CIA. And what is it with all these people being whacked out on drugs, man? Remember this? On the campaign trail, Elon Musk juggled drugs and family drama. Let's take a look at that. He was definitely no less whacked out than Karp in this video. A little less hyper.
It's a very sad case. It's a case we win. We can't lose that case.
Just taking more of those lewds. Got some of the last of the lewds. Paid a premium for him.
I think Columbia wants to get to the bottom of the problem. They've acted very well. And there are other institutions, too, they're acting, but Harvard's trying to be a big shot. And all that happens is every 3 days we find another 100.
Where's Zoran? I miss Zoran.
If you saw that guy on a subway platform, you'd give him a quarter.
This is why he loves Zoran.
Yeah. Now these are supposed to be the people who are your superiors, right? And they love to tell you how superior they are, especially Elon. No one more than Elon. So he retweets Hunter Ash. Poverty does not cause crime. Rather, the same underlying traits, low intelligence and low self-control, cause both poverty and crime. Elon Musk quote tweets that. Correct. Okay. All right. So Jim Stewartson here put together a little montage. In the interest of evaluating Elon Musk's claim that rich white men are more intelligent than the poor's, Here are a few highlights of the Oligarchs' alleged genius, featuring Elon Musk, Alex Karp, Peter Thiel, Curtis Yarvin. Midwits at best, every one of them.
Not be imposing all these rules on people, and you know, it's like, you know, yeah.
Wow, that's some genius right there.
Government overreach is not cool.
Government overreach
we began talking,
is not cool.
Annoying each other 10 years ago. Hopefully I'm annoying you as much as 10 years ago. Or more.
I want this guy rifling through everyone's personal information.
You know this. Yeah. Every decision Palantir made, every single one, Ornithology, every single one of those was viewed as stupid.
A healthcare system which kills thousands of Americans by denying them cover. What would you say to them?
Fucking devil's gonna get you.
It's. I don't know what
fucking guy.
What to say.
I think we got that.
I still think you should try to make an argument.
And I saw this video. I'm sure it's long since disappeared, but it was really just like kind of burned a hole in me. And it wasn't even a video. It was actually just a sequence of photos. The even photos were sort of brightly colored pictures of just like general Western, you know, decadence, decay, rot, filth. You know, we've all seen these things. And then interspersed between them, formal dress portraits of Nazi officers.
That's Curtis Yarvin, man. That's Curtis Yarvin, the kind of intellectual godfather for all these people. Peter Thiel, J.D. Vance, they love this guy. What's he saying? He's favorably comparing Nazis in formal dress uniforms to images he saw from some shit that he can't remember of Western decay. These are the people who rule you. These are the people who rule you, who want you to believe that the reason that you're not as rich as them is that you're not as smart as them. You're not as good as them. You're not as deserving as them. You have to be the worst person in the world to be the richest person in the world. Well, there's another explanation. No one makes that much money without abusing people and laws. Yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe you're just not evil enough to be that rich. You know, who kind of backs that up? He doesn't use the word evil. He uses the words connected and aggressive. I use the word evil. But here's Tucker talking about, and he would know. He would know. He grew up with a very wealthy stepfather. He's been around rich people all his life, right? Here he is telling you these people are pretty mediocre. They're just aggressive and well-connected.
Bill Ackman is not creative, not particularly intelligent. Bill Ackman is worth $7 billion. So you have to ask, like, how? And it seems to me that Bill Ackman is rich for the same reasons that a lot of other people I know are rich, because he's hyper-aggressive and he's well-connected. And my only point was, if you live in a society that awards the spoils to people on the basis of those two qualities, like the most aggressive, the best connected people get the richest, that's a dysfunctional society. There should be a reward for creativity and decency and hard work, steadfastness, following the rules. Like, you should have to add to the sum total of your society, you'd think. It's not an argument against the free market. It's an argument against whatever we're living through right now. This is really dark and ugly. And if people like Bill Ackman are getting the richest, what has Bill Ackman done? Shorted the market or something? Talk down Herbalife? I mean, I'm not even saying that should be illegal. All I'm saying is, if that's one of the richest guys in your society, you've got a very sick society. I don't think Bill Ackman's like a drooling idiot or anything, but like, when was the last time you heard Bill Ackman say something constructive or creative? Like, never. So it's just bad. And it's not just about Bill Ackman, of course. I mean, he's just a minor player in the life of the world, but he's a kind of metaphor for how off track we've gone. And that doesn't seem like a socialist point. Once again, I'm hardly a socialist, and neither was Charlie Kirk. That seems like a Christian point. Fairness is at the root.
Okay. All right. So now, when you get the oligarch apologists, the self-hating working class people, a lot of times what they'll tell you right after they call you jealous for taking exception to their wealth is that they earned it. Okay. Did they? Did they? How self-made billionaires got their start? Bill Gates. Mom sat on the same board as the CEO of IBM and convinced him to take a risk on her son's new company. Jeff Bezos started Amazon with $300,000 in seed capital from his parents and more from some rich friends. Warren Buffett, the son of a powerful congressman who owned an investment company, and Elon, dad owned an emerald mine in apartheid South Africa. Now, he denies that. The fake emerald mine thing is so annoying. Like, where exactly is this thing anyway? And he got community noted. In a 2014 phone interview with Ask Men, Musk said, "This is going to sound slightly crazy, but my father also had a share in an emerald mine in Zambia."
So there it is, Zambia. That answers your question.
His father, Errol Musk, told Business well, he lies as often as he breathes. His father, Errol Musk, told Business Insider he purchased a 50% share in the mine for £40,000 after selling a plane for £80,000. So, he knows how it makes him look, so he lies about this emerald mine, but someplace else he admitted it. Pretty typical Elon kind of behavior. And don't forget, Elon Musk didn't invent or create Tesla. He bought it. Elon Musk didn't invent or create SpaceX. He bought it. He didn't invent or create Twitter. He bought it. He's not an inventor. He's not an inventor. He's an investor, as our friend Carsey Blanton sang in one of my favorite songs of hers. So what do you have here? This is really what I'm talking about when I talk about the peasant mind. The idea that these people wouldn't have all the money if they weren't smart, that's basically like a medieval peasant who believes that the aristocracy wouldn't have all the land if they didn't deserve all the land. You had centuries and centuries. Now you might say, well, that's different. These people, they made this on the sweat of their brow. No, they didn't. I just showed you, man. Most of these people, there were exceptions, like Larry Ellison was raised by a single mother without any money. But that's the exception. The rule is that these people inherited money and then used the money and connections they already had to make more money. For centuries, you had inbred people running Europe. And the average peasant, you had peasant rebellions and uprisings. The average peasant thought they were in that position because they deserved it.
Is what 16 generations of medieval inbreeding looks like. The Habsburgs of Spain were one of the most powerful ruling families, and royal intermarriage was especially common in medieval Europe. Out of a total of 11 marriages, 9 of the Habsburgs were incestuous. This inbreeding meant that birth defects were passed down through the generations. During a 184-year period, half of Habsburg children had died before they reached the age of 10. This inbreeding also caused a peculiar phenomenon known as the Habsburg jaw, a facial feature that meant members of the family exhibited an extremely large jawline and an oversized tongue. King Charles II of Spain was so afflicted that he had difficulty with eating and speaking, and he also drooled a lot. Unable to walk until he was 8, Charles couldn't produce an heir and was the last of his dynasty. In order to keep their bloodline pure, the Habsburgs inbreeding had produced a man so ugly that he scared his own wife.
Okay, so you think we've advanced beyond these people?
When we began talking, annoying each other 10 years ago, hopefully I'm annoying you as much as 10 years ago.
This is who rules.
Or more.
Did you vote for this guy?
When I made a, you know this, every decision
through all the government files and all your personal information? Did you decide you want criminals like that ruling you? Have you really moved beyond the peasants who didn't question why these inbred freaks were governing whole countries that they had no capacity to even grasp or understand, whose people they cared nothing about? That is exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about the peasant mind. The fact that there are so many people, I mean, we all accept it, right? We all accept it. We should be organizing to take these people down, non-violently, of course, but we should be organizing to change the system in a way that people like this cannot be in these positions. The fact that we've been conditioned to watch a guy like this and take it as normal, that this man has more money than you and everybody that you know are ever going to see in 10 lifetimes, that's the peasant mind. That's the same mind that would make people look at people who are so inbred that they can't eat, ruling their country, and not say, what the hell is this? Oh, no, well, they wouldn't have all that if they didn't deserve it. That's what you've been subtly conditioned to believe, that these people have this because they deserve it. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. And that's why they spend so much time brainwashing you into believing things can't be another way. As soon as you start thinking, why does this guy have this? They're in trouble.
Well, you know, it's funny because you look at a guy like Curtis Yarvin, and you would imagine that a guy with this amount of like cultural capital and a guy whose thoughts and musings have been as influential as they are must have a pretty big following. But in fact, he doesn't. His Substack has like 60,000 subs. Our YouTube channel has twice as many followers as his Substack. On X, he's got like 70,000 followers. Like, he's not a particularly popular person who actually has a lot of people subscribing to his theories. But he has amassed tremendous influence by espousing an ideology that validates the status of the oligarchs, right? So, like, you talk about an anti-democratic ideal. Like, the guy's not even that famous. Yet he's got J.D. Vance, quoting him. He's got Elon Musk quoting him, right? He's not even that famous a person. Like, who is he? Is he a genius?
And what does that tell you? These people are fucking Nazis.
Well, it also shows you, as Tucker said, that they're mediocre, right? They're mediocre. Like, it's not like he's got hundreds of thousands of people hanging on his every word. No, he espouses an ideology that justifies the existence of the current hierarchy. And so the people atop that hierarchy are, of course, going to elevate him. That's why he has as many followers as he has. If J.D. Vance were running around quoting him, who would know who this guy is? Hardly anybody knows who he is as it is. And he's got the vice president, bringing him up in interview after interview. Right. So that shows you something there, too. And yeah, just listen to these guys talk. I always noticed this even before I was like that political a person. I mean, I was always political, but back when I was like more blue pilled during my tour guide days, the richest clients were always the most boring and the most unfunny. Yeah. It was impossible to make a rich person laugh. I could make the Groupon people laugh and cringe. Yeah, they were not funny. They were not smart. They were not interesting. They were the most mediocre people I ever came across, were the rich people. And the people who bought Groupon
socially off-putting tickets. They didn't have to be charming.
Right, they didn't have to be charming. The people who bought the Groupon tickets, they tipped shit, but they were like relatable. They were relatable.
Or like normal people.
That was the trade-off, right? Yeah, they were the normal ones. They were the normal ones, and they were the far more interesting ones to what Tucker was saying. Right. So yeah, no, I mean, it's something that, you can observe even if you are not as politically tuned in as we are. Just ask yourself or ask the people in your life, hey, when you run into these like wealthy people, are you comfortable around them? Like, meaning, do you relate to them? Can they carry a conversation? Because generally, and there are of course exceptions, generally they can't. Like, generally, they are the most awkward people to be around because they just don't relate to the ordinary experience of being a human being.
Please clap.